You're tuned in to the Cre8 Podcast, where we explore the stories, advice, and insights from well-known and influential creatives in the industry. I'm your host, Cindy Morioki, and this is where creatives connect. Hi, Charisma.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great, and you?
I'm good. Thank you for being the first guest of season 2.
Guys, are you hearing? I'm the first guest of season 2, a superstar.
Period.
Thank
Nothing
you.
less.
Nothing less. Yeah.
Can you please tell our audience who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Charisma. Government name's Fidel Shama. I'm a singer, songwriter, an entertainer, a protester. Yeah, I'm a man of many talents, a lawyer. Yeah, I just be doing things.
Just be doing things. Whatever comes to you, just do
whatever
them.
comes, yeah.
I love that.
Part-time musician, full-time protester. That's what this country has done to me.
It's also made me dead and Kimavi, and I'm just a girl. Just a baby girl.
Ona chenye mnafanyia warembo.
The baddies, man.
Ajue Rimi na kamse wakuprotest.
Yeah. So, Evo, tell us, before we get into your protester side, tell us about your musical side and how you started out in this industry.
All right, so music came very unnaturally to me because it's not something I did growing up. It's not something I was ever interested in. I'm a very sporty person. I'm a person for adrenaline, as you can see.
Clearly.
Yeah. So I used to play rugby in high school. I was in Nairobi school and I used to play rugby for our school team. And all along I thought that was the thing I was going to do with my life, like as a co-curricular activity. Now, I broke my shoulder completely. Yeah, like I've broken a lot.
So currently Charisma is in a cast as...
Yeah.
And he
with
told
a
me
broken
before...
hand.
Yeah, with a broken hand. And he's told me before that this is not his first injury, probably will not be your last.
Yeah, it's not going to be my last. To me, mwili itarudi kwa mchanga.
That's a fair fact.
Yeah, it's the truth. Just use it, you know. Yeah, but yeah, so I used to play rugby, so I broke my collarbone, and I remember when I went to hospital, the doctor was like, you've hurt it too many times. If you do it again, you might not be able to use that shoulder as normally as other people will. And I also had a lot of concussions. And that I had like 3 or 4 concussions, and that's just in high school.
Yeah.
And it's not great. Like, people who get concussions, if you continue, brain damage and those kind of things happen. So ultimately, I had to stop playing rugby. And also, when I went to club rugby for the tryouts, I saw big human beings.
You're like, I don't look like this.
Massive men. I was like, ain't nobody got time for that. You know, like, I was saying, big humans. Them saying Toshana na ngombe. I was just like, hey. Yeah, like,
and then you don't.
You know, and then it's just pure muscle, buff. And then they're tall. So I analyze, you know, sometimes it's good to be real with yourself,
Yeah.
I was just like, there's no way I'm growing to this level. Like, I'm already an old man. This is my body. Even if I bulk up, these people are still going to bully me every day. So I quit, and I'm not a quitter, but like, reality just hit me, and I was like, this is not for me. So I remember that December, it was I just finished my Form 4. We were doing a concert at Nairobi Baptist Church, and I was the lead director for the concert. Now, I used to do drama. I was an actor. Or rather, I've been an actor for a long period of time, but I was made the head director for the concert. So I was literally just overseeing all the other departments. Now, the dudes, you know how young boys are, they didn't want to sing at the concert. They're like, madam do anaimbanga. Then it's nataka kudance na kuact. So one of the music directors comes to me and she's like, you know what, come and sing. Because, you know, when you sing, these guys look up to you, they might end up coming.
Okay.
So I go there, and instead of giving me a simple like harmony, they give me a whole verse, and I'm like, you don't think like this is, you're killing me. Yeah, but I remember I sang. I was crap. I was bad. But like, some guys came, and the guys who I ended up forming a group with later, they were part of a group with a very bad name. They were called Socks, Singers of Christian Songs.
Oh, no. Good
na walikuwa wanadhani, manze mimi naambia, walikuwa wanadhani hao waseni wa cool. Walisema kwa stage wanaitwa Socks, nikasema mlidu nyi group ya 6 people Mlisema socks na mkasema yeah.
This is the one.
Yeah, but they used to piss me off because they'd sing in front of the church and all the girls would love them because they used to do a cappella. Kwanza kulikuwa na msewa bass. Alikuwa ananiboju. Kuna dem nilikuwa nimekatia. Dem alisikia mse once akamlove.
And that was it for you.
Nilim hate manze.
Yeah,
but they started doing practices with me and literally that's how I started my music journey.
Okay.
From someone who never sang to someone who now is performing on stages a lot everywhere, you know. So that's like my story is a very weird story because if not for the person who said come and sing in front for these kids to just hype them, I would have never been a singer.
So shout out to that person because they made you who you are.
Yeah.
Or they got you here at least.
Bro, I'm here because of them.
Oh, that's lovely.
One-handed, yeah.
Okay, nice. And then now you join. So you didn't join Socks?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, but I cannot even imagine myself in a group called Socks.
But you joined Leban.
See, I didn't look cool. Lakini sikuwa down, you know. Yeah, so this guy is, I think, will stray away from God a bit.
When they saw they were getting the girls.
Yeah, the girls. Wakacha kwa singers of Christian songs. So we started doing music together. Just, you know what, the regular stuff that musicians do when you're starting up, covers and just harmonizing them. And people used to love them. And so there's a time we do a gig with Njoki Karu. Njoki Karu, a brilliant singer. Like her voice is just, I don't know. Those are the type of musicians I always say, if I had that type of talent, me hata tungewahi ongeleshana na watu. Ndio God alinifanya nikuwe hapa penye niko for humility.
A little humble.
Yeah, nikuwe humble kidogo. Yeah, but Njoki had us as her background vocalist.
Yeah.
And I remember just before her show, she was like, you guys, do you guys want to do something for the audience? And you know, you can imagine any boy band. Who are you going to sing? Whose songs are you going to sing? Sauti Sol.
Of course.
We sang Blue Uniform and dance. And then we're just having fun like broke boys who are just here for a good time.
Yeah.
And everyone loved it. So after it was those songs for everyone is just like, so you guys try this thing on your own. Maybe you guys can make a career out of it. That time I'm like, me hata napotezanga sauti nikiimba for 5 minutes. Yeah, but that's literally how Le Band started. Like we had a WhatsApp group and the name of the group was Le Band. So we were just like, as you can see, the common theme with this group of people is there's no creativity with names.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but since you've said it.
Imagine, I can see it in your face. Your face has subtitles. Like, manze, amkuwa na majina poa. Yeah, but the name of the group was Le Band because I remember we tried looking for a bunch of names and they were giving a, you know, I don't know if you've heard Sauti Sol story. Even them, they had bad names. Just singers, something in the light. You know,
really?
Yeah, the problem with names, like when it's not your name, when you're coming up with it's
hard.
Might think the name is cool until you tell the rest of the world.
And then they're like, try again.
Brother. Yeah, so we tried names and we weren't getting a nice name. And someone said, I think it was me actually, I just said, you just go with the name on this group. If us guys are going to fight the
why
whole time,
not, yeah.
let's just go. And that's how we started the group.
Okay.
And the rest is history. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I saw on your Twitter earlier this year that is the 7-year anniversary of number one, right?
Yeah.
That was earlier this year.
Yeah.
And I saw that you also shared the story of how that
song
was
came to
the like your hit or miss, like
it was literally just if number one doesn't go, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it because we started doing music. The first song we started doing music in 2013, but officially our first release was in 2014. Yeah. So in 2014 we put out a song called Kantai, and between 2014 and 2017 January when we put out number one, tulikuwa tunatoa songs just for our friends and family. Au pekee ndo walikuwa wanawatch. I won't even lie to you. The views were 400. And you know me, I'm Luhya, so I come from a big house.
So it was literally all your relatives.
Just my relatives. Comment section unaona hata jina ni moja. The family name, the clan, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you can imagine when you're beginning and it's not working, when you're younger, it's like you have time.
True.
But so I'm getting older. So I finished law school in 2016. I'm a bit old, guys. I'm old Gen Z.
We'll accept it.
Yeah, please take me.
We'll accept
Stuck
it.
side ingine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I finished school in 2016 and now I have to make difficult decisions because now I'm out of school and now I have to
be an adult.
Start being an adult and then taking responsibility for myself. I'm no longer getting fare from my folks and whatever. So life is coming at me crazy. And I remember I told the boys, man, I really love this thing that I'm doing. And I've been doing it at the same time as I've been in school. So I know I enjoy being a musician more than I enjoy practicing the law. However, the law is paying me.
Makes sense, yeah.
You know,
it's a secure
and
job.
the law will keep paying me. And I'll have security. With this one, we're not even sure. We're not getting shows. We're doing free gigs. No one is paying us for our gigs. Our views are just us and our people. We go out there, we still have to sing covers, and we go to a gig in Nakuru na tulipwi. In fact, tulikuwa tunajipeleka gig nax na sindo tunalipa fare yote. Like, it was just bad business, you know. But you see, that time it's not as bad because my folks are paying for my fare and everything. But now all of a sudden I have to start thinking ahead. And I told them, man, for me this is gonna be the end. If this song doesn't do what it's meant to do,
you're gonna go
and by the time we were releasing number one, we had that song for about 9 months.
Okay.
Manze, tulikuwa tumekana for 9 months mpaka ngoma imeanza kunibo. Like me, I thought it wasn't gonna go anywhere. You know, it's just, ask any musician, when you stay with a song too long, even a good song, it starts sounding bad.
Okay, I feel like that when I'm taking a picture and I stare at it for too long and I don't want to post it.
And everyone says it's a beautiful picture,
and you're
but
just
you're
like, there's something wrong.
And immediately you took that picture and you saw it, you were like, this is a fire photo.
You're like, wow.
You know, so that's what it was. And I remember I was very reluctant to put money into this project because I remember the boys were like, for this one, I want us to go all out. They wanted us to go all out, and they were like, the budget for the video is 150K. I remember that time. I'm telling you, guys, we shot videos for 20K. They flopped. Now you think we go flop a whole 150K that I don't even have.
Yeah.
This 150K I have to borrow from people.
Yeah.
I remember we took that leap of faith, and I said, Kwanza, sasa nilikuwa na hasira, this one's for if we do it and it flops and I've lost money. In fact, I'm sure now I'm not meant to do this thing.
Yeah.
And we even went to church, guys. Like the Sunday before we released the song, that Thursday. I remember it was Thursday. Was it 31st January? If I'm not wrong. I prayed with the boys. Tulishikana mikono. Tukaomba. And that song just, when it went out, it just honestly changed our lives. Like, especially for me, who's I think the only one still doing music, that's the moment of validation for me. It's the thing that made me realize, okay, so I'm probably good enough to be a musician.
This, yeah.
You know, so if you work and take some lessons you've gotten from this, you can probably do it, you know, because you see, and another thing that validated us, I guess, and kept us going was guys like Had the Band, who we came up almost at the same time. Yeah, so them just succeeding made a lot of us in that time space feel like, okay, it's possible. Because you see, if one of us never did it, it would have been very easy for us to also give up, because it's like, hey, akuna any of us who's doing this type of music who's making it. Yeah. So, but it was interesting. It was really, really dope. And then just from there, my career just began. And that's me and the band just, yeah.
Wow, so that is a very significant...
Yeah. It's like number one for me. It's such a landmark in my career. I would say, like, without number one, I'm not a musician. Without number one, I don't believe that I can put out music that people can listen to on a large scale level, you know, like it just validated me and like made me realize, when you will say,
period. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, and now you told me that you studied law.
Yes.
And of course, when you are pursuing this law school, you are also pursuing music.
Yes.
And I'm sure your parents were like,
oh Lord. First of all, my dad is a pastor.
Okay.
So you can imagine being a secular musician.
He was like,
it was
this
not
one has
his
lost
favorite
the
thing.
way.
So when I was starting music, I remember I used to be, when I was, they used to ask me, hey, what are you doing? And like, I do uplifting music.
Okay.
So I remember, if you go and check our songs from back in the day, it's very... Kwanza kuna moja iko down. Hata naifikirianga nasema, manze, nani alikuwa... Mbona tulidhani hii song ni kali?
Which one? I'm going to link it in the description. I'm going to link it in the description.
Such a bad song with a bad video. But I was doing those two type of songs because I didn't want to rub my dad off the wrong way. And then I remember even when we put out number one, when I watch the video now, I'm like, mbona niliwana panic, but at that time it felt like it was such a risky video. And I remember he saw girls with mini slits from here and mini skirts. Hey, ilileta shida, nilifanywa meeting. There's a song I did with the band called Move that I remember we shot, now that's a risky video. All of our parents came together to call us family. So you can imagine, being a pastor's kid and being on that path was not easy for sure. But I think the one thing about my folks is they said, finish school first. At least get done with your education and everything and make your decisions. Because they've raised my brother and I in the kind of way like make your decisions for yourself. As long as it's what makes you happy and it's something that you love and you're putting 100 into it, we'll support it. As we might not agree with it, because I know, for example, my dad sometimes he listens to my songs and he does Holy Ghost fire. But it's like I'm still his son. Yeah. And we're both on different stages. Me say my end of pastor, see Mimi.
True. It's a fact.
Yeah.
But now are they okay with it, or they're just?
I mean, I don't want to say okay. I think my parents support me because they're my parents.
Okay.
I believe if my folks were given an opportunity, I'd be to change my path. I'd be a gospel musician. If I was if at all I was a musician, I'd be gospel or I'd be a lawyer. But they still support. So for me, I get it, because I can imagine for them it's like mbona naimba hizi ngoma, mbona naimba Maria sijui nani, aimbe tu vitu za Mungu,
But if they didn't ban you from doing it, I feel like that's already a good step.
My parents were only hard on me when they felt like it was affecting my education. Like for example, when we'd get gigs and like guys are saying we go to Mombasa and I have school that week or exams, they'd be like, hey, Fidel, no.
It doesn't make sense.
You're not going to do that. You're not going to jeopardize your education. Especially, and for them, in the generation, the creative arts were not...
It's not a career.
It's not even something that made money for anyone. So I totally understood them. And it's a very risky industry. I always say, yes, every industry is risky. The success rate, even in the law field, for medicine and whatever. However, it's even less in the creative sector. There's so many people who do creative things, but we never hear about them. There's a lot of people who want to be where you're at, can never hear about them. So the success rate is really small, and like it's marginal. So like, I understood them from the get-go, and I think that part of understanding them kind of helped me to also know how to navigate my relationship with my parents as I was making my decisions, Yeah.
Okay. And what made Le Band end? Let's talk about it. You can be politically correct.
Ambition.
If you want to be. Okay.
To be honest, I always say, so right now I'm comfortable with saying I'm the one who left the group.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't leave it because I thought I was better than anyone, or it's just I feel like I'd outgrown the group. Like the things, and we had gotten to a point where, so when we were younger, when we were studying, for all of us it was a hobby. Or something we were just having fun with. But as we grew, so some people got married and left.
Yeah.
Then we remained a couple of guys get children, or a guy gets a child, or he decides, no, I want to get a white collar job.
Yeah.
And they get a white collar job. And then what happens is, for him, music is a side gig. But you see, it's not something that makes sense when it's a side gig for someone in the group and a main hustle for the other person.
Yes, yeah.
So just that kind of conflict started to happen, and I started to realize I wanted it a bit more than some of the other guys in the group, because they perhaps saw themselves in a different direction. We'd get to points where we used to practice every week, like twice a week with the band, and so like the band and the instrumentalist. All of a sudden, it's been 3 months, I'm the only one going for practice with the band. When in studio, guys only come to record their vocals and then leave. I'm staying with the producer the whole day for 3 days, trying to work on it. So I started to feel like I was
carrying it.
Not just, I don't want to say carrying it, but I was the only one who was doing it, like
invested in it.
Yeah, invested in it. Yeah. And that when the goals stop to align, and then you start seeing other people progressing in their other careers while in the group, but not taking this thing seriously. And I'm like, I'm the one who's going to suffer, because I know I want to do this thing for the long term. Yeah. So I had to make a decision, and the decision was difficult because we had worked so hard to build that brand. And finally, so we've been paid. Now we're being paid like 2-3 years down the line. We're being paid, and we're being paid well for performances. And now all of a sudden I'm saying I want to start again from zero. And the worst thing is I'm no longer a child. When I was starting, I was young, and my father's house,
yeah,
rent is being paid for by my folks. My food is being paid. Now all of a sudden I'm alone.
Yeah, you have all the responsibility.
Yeah. And it was, I think that decision is probably, apart from like, if I ever get married, that's probably gonna be the hardest decision of my life for the rest of my life. That decision was difficult.
I can't imagine.
And it had, the ripple effect was insane because I fell into depression after a while because things weren't working. Yeah, so it was not an easy decision to make, but I think a decision that had to be made.
And a decision that ended up in your favor, which is a good
thing. I guess
thing.
now we could say so. Then, oh Lord, I remember.
I mean, you can never see the light at the end of the tunnel until you're out of it.
I remember at that time someone asking me, mbona ulitoka kwa group uteseke?
Damn.
Sema, yo. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, and they weren't wrong because at that time it was bleak, man. Now I'm in my mid-20s and I've gone back to doing free shows again.
Right.
So your stuff makes sense. The time most people are building themselves. Others, most of my age mates are now starting to be stable, not stable, but like they're making their money, they're paying their rents and everything. And then me, I've gone back to zero, and now even my folks are like, now this doesn't make sense at all. I feel like just go back to the farm. Then COVID happened. Lord. Like, I'm telling you, when it rains,
it really pours.
Yeah. And it poured like Walker Town. Yeah.
So what happened? What moment or what time frame did you now start making money or get out of the depression? Like, what was the light for you?
Juicy.
Really?
Yeah, let me tell you, this music industry is difficult because you see, it's a business. I keep telling guys, so people come into the industry thinking, I'm gonna sing a song, it blows up, I make money. Oh Lord, it will show you shaggy. Let me tell you, and the thing is, return of interest. It's a business,
yeah.
So you're only gonna have me over for gigs if I'm bringing people.
Yeah.
And I remember, so I start again, and now I'm at Grand. So of course I'm not studying at the area I started at with like Leban, but it's not great.
Yeah.
I'm trying to book shows, and they're like, but you're not Leban, now you're Charisma.
Now you're Charisma.
Who's Charisma? And all of a sudden now I'm doing gigs, and they're telling me, okay, we can give you 2,000 for transport.
But
come
the
and
show
perform.
is free.
Yeah. And that's how you build your name. And it's difficult to hear, but for a lot of creatives, the opportunities don't just come with the money.
Yeah.
You have to build those opportunities for yourself. Kick those doors until people will start noticing you. And that's when I started even doing my own show, Charisma Live, yeah. Because I wasn't getting gigs, and I was like, bro, mi simse wakungoja watu. I'll do my own show and show people that I can attract people. And I remember the first one, I sent everybody I know
an invite
and like a text, and I kept reminding them. It was those eras for when people were still doing broadcasts on WhatsApp and we didn't think it was dumb to do them. Hauko na feel kama unasumbua watu. Siku hizi hata watu wanaziblock, unatuma mingi kumbe hata nobody is seeing. Yeah. So I sent that bold broadcast, and what for me the goal was always to show people that I might not have the big hits, but I pull people, and I'm a proper performer. So we do the first one, and it's successful, especially for the point I was at, and it kind of helps me to get my career going. Yeah. And people start booking me for shows. I'm not being called for good amounts of money. Like, you'll find a show where I'm being given 40K, and I have 5 band members to pay, a sound engineer to pay. So it's not great, but it's looking up. We weren't being paid. Now I'm getting money.
Yeah.
And I remember I did the one thing is, this industry is also about perception. So I did a whole circuit of shows. And I know there's a lot of people who used to see me and be like, hey, I'm saying I make dough and I do my show. Kumbe ni bure zote. And those shows I'm performing at, people are leaving, going on Twitter saying how I have the best performance out of everyone else was being paid.
And you're
the free person,
free.
But it helped build my character, my resilience, and also people started knowing about me.
Yeah.
And I think those things have kind of is what has gotten me up to where I am. Even doing a show right now that can be a sold out show is because of where we started and just the persistence and the kicking doors and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Wow, okay. It's good to know. It's good that you're honest about it, because I would have also assumed that you've been raking in money.
I think the period where I've made money for real, not even for real, like decent money, because I don't think I'm making money for real. Because I hear artists from abroad coming here chenye wanalipwa, and some of the top artists there, and I'm like, yeah,
you're not yet
I'm
there,
far,
but we're getting there.
But I think the last like 1.5 years
are
the years I could say, like, or 2 years I could say like nimelipwa.
Okay.
And I've been a musician for 10 years.
So clearly the lesson here is to be resilient.
Or not, sometimes it's crazy. Don't do it, bro. Just do your 8 to 5.
No, here we empower
Actually, no, we do, but let me tell you, also, it's good to be, I like when people are
honest,
crazy, and they like thrusting themselves into their goals. But this 10-year journey could have gone south, which is a thing I like telling people. The reality of this thing is, it could have gone completely south. You could hear stories baadaye of Charisma kwa streets, sijui ni mlevi aje, Anna is depressed. These things happen. So I tell guys, if you're coming into this industry, you have to absolutely love this thing that you're doing.
I agree.
Don't just, if you're doing it only for the money, it'll depress you.
Yeah.
Because the money does not come like this. So love this thing, and it'll love you back eventually, or hopefully. And sometimes it doesn't. And that's just the reality of life. Not just with the creative industry, even with white-collar jobs. Sometimes it doesn't work. The only difference is they're secure. So before you thrust yourself into this thing, you have to be a person who's already had the mindset of, I won't regret it. You can't walk into it 50-50 like, I fail, guys, perfect. Just do it, man. You know. So this career could have ended up completely the opposite of how it is right now.
And we've actually seen creatives.
And there's a lot of
like
people
that.
in that situation.
Yeah,
you know.
I was going to say the same.
So I guess another lesson that is important to learn is there's also a time to give up. Kuna time ya kusema pia by the, let me tell you, if you do it for 10-15 years and it's not pia unasema tu.
Yeah, but then maybe it's just not for
you. Can't just keep making losses in your life and injecting, you know. But if you love this thing, persistency is the most important thing, and consistency. Otherwise, it'll humble you. Yeah.
Okay. So what gig was it that was like your first, where you were like, okay, now I'm making some sort of
big money?
Yeah.
I won't talk about the charisma ones because I know my managers will just be like, "Well, unaenda kuongea pesa."
No, you don't have to say how much, but like you can say.
No, I think there's a gig we were paid. This one I'll even tell you the figure, because I don't even. The only way it'll make sense, the story will make sense, is with the figure.
Okay.
Because these people, so we were with Le Band still.
Okay.
That time we've just checked number 1, so money is starting to come in. All of a sudden we're doing free gigs. Sasa mtu anatupigia, we have 100K, want to perform one song. I'm like, 3 minutes? 100K? I'm like, Jehovah Lord.
Sign me up.
Oh Lord, let's go. Kidogo rate card imepanda, mnalipwa so 2 so 3. Now, this guys call us from the, I think it was the South African embassy. Was it something was happening at the South African embassy. So the agency and the embassy call us, and we're in a meeting. They don't even ask us what our rate card is. They tell us, we have 1 million shillings for you. Are you guys, is it okay? I'm telling you guys, my legs were shaking under the table.
What year was that?
Was it 2018 or 17?
1 million. When the economy was in a much better
zangu
state.
zilikuwa zina shake chini ya meza. Mpaka nilikuwa nazishikilia because the table was literally like it was nikazibend hivi ndo mguu iache ku misbehave. What? Because I had never had that kind of, like, even no one had ever mentioned something like that in my life. Like, hata sikuwa najua mtu anaweza imba alipwe pesa kama hiyo. Kuimba tu, you know. And I remember a manager said, it's not what we would have wanted, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I was like, you're a proper businessman.
That
because
is a
me, if I
businessman.
spoke, I would have started shouting and
I'd be
screaming.
like, yes, where do I sign?
Like, thank you so much. You've uplifted my family, my clan, my mother, my father. You know.
Yeah.
I remember, so we leave the room. So and then they added something. They're like, charisma, we've had. You also have sound. So that time I'm hiring sound for like 20K or 30K. We want to add like 200K. You'll bring first. I was like, my God.
You're eating good.
Wow. Now we'll talk about meeting. So the boys are pretending like they're fine. My knees were shaking and gonga-nine. We go to the lift. Lift ilitoka to 6th floor, ikafika 3rd, tukapiga nduru all at the same time. You know, I remember when the check came, so I got the check. I was too excited. So I got the check, and this is the worst thing I ever did. I went with that check home and put it on the table and forgot.
Oh.
So who finds it?
Your parents.
My dad.
Oh.
From that day, my dad has never given me a shilling.
You're a strong, independent man.
Shilling. My dad like, unalipwa kuniliko. Alafu unaniombanga pesa. I told him, this is not how I'm paid. This is for today, please. It's like, what? 1 million. Yani unaandikiwa 1 million tu unaimba. Me, I work every day. He's never given me money again. But yeah, it was so interesting. I remember, yeah, and even now, I think 1 million. If they gave me I wouldn't react the same way.
Obviously, yeah, it's different now.
I'd be like, so great. I'd love it. But then, and I don't know how old I was Kitambo. Let me not say how old.
He didn't want us to trace his age.
How the math can be done, yeah.
It's okay. You're still a Gen Z in this household.
I'm a Gen Z.
Yeah, we accept it.
Thank you.
Now let's talk about the emotions.
Yes.
Your recent album.
Yes.
I actually came for your live show.
Yes, thank you so much.
Anytime.
And
it
you
was
had
amazing.
an amazing fit.
Oh, thank you. I was dressed like your backup dancers. I was joking with my friend Steph. I was like, I should just come on stage.
On stage and just dance.
How will they know?
I saw, but your fit was fire.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
What on a style.
So, well, gonna style you. So no, that's even the best part. Yeah, you don't have to think about your outfit.
I don't like thinking about outfits.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not for you.
Yeah,
it's okay. Your strength is in the voice and the moves. Yeah. So tell me what. Okay, before we even start talking about what inspired you, I hear it is challenging to write an album.
It is.
And I want to know, as someone who doesn't obviously know the technical and behind the scenes of creating an album, what is it that...
I don't think the challenging part is really the creating of the music. It's how much it costs.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, for example, let me just give you a rough estimate of like production for where I work. So the production, my producer charges $500 per song, and you have a mix and master engineer who charges $500 for mix and master.
1 billion?
Not one. Yeah, it's 1 million. Yeah, so
no, it was an exaggeration.
Yeah. You're doing like 130K a song.
Okay.
Now, if you're doing them in bulk, they'll be like, we can do a deal for you for like 100 or 80K.
Okay.
And the thing about an album is, so I put out a 10-song album. However, an album, you do like 20, 30 songs before you cut them down. And you have to pay, especially the production part, you pay for all of them. So you can end up paying 1 million to 1.5 mic. It depends on the producers. For some people it could be cheaper, but you pay a lot of money for the production of the songs because that's someone's time. Imagine you're a producer, you won't work for free.
That's true.
You know, so that's someone's IP. So you're paying for all those things. It's like you see the guys doing whatever the videography. Yeah, you
have to pay.
There's every day. You know, so it's literally the same thing. So it's really expensive, and that's minus a marketing budget. That's minus a budget for music videos. So a project, when you do a project properly, could cost you even 5 mic easily. How many creatives have 5 million?
How are the returns?
That's the question. So and that's why a lot of people don't do albums, because you want to build your name to a place where the album now makes sense to release.
Yeah.
Or have a deal where you do, so people do labels or whatever or deals. But the return of investment is not high because, as I told you, the success rate for musicians and all this kind of, it's not high. So a lot of people go into debt, into loss and everything. Me, I've lost money with music so many times. Like, how many times, I'll tell you, there's a lot of times I put out a single that cost me about 300, 400K. That's inclusive of a video.
Yeah.
And it doesn't bring in that money.
Yeah.
Because the song doesn't move. You know, because an important thing is marketing, and maybe you don't have a marketing budget.
True.
And things like, and people just don't know you. So it's really, really expensive. That's the worst part about it. And then you want to put out a proper project, so you want people who are doing things like songwriting for you. For one song, someone could charge you 50K. So those are costs that just keep piling up and piling up. So you end up, and I think for my album, if up to now, in terms of just production and video, we're close to like 2 mic in terms of spend.
Wow.
Yeah. But you see, I'm a bit fortunate now to be at a place where people are booking me for shows and paying me a certain way, and people are listening to my music. So if the album is because an album is also a long-term project. You don't put it out and you say 2 months from now it's done. Next thing. So this album is meant to push me for a year. If it does a year and I'm doing the gigs,
you're fine.
I release my money and then some. And then it becomes the songs that pop out from it become monumental songs for a career in terms of performance and being booked and all that kind of stuff. And they set the base for the next songs also. But it's the financial part of it that's incredible. That's insane. Even doing a show, guys, I sold out a show and made no money.
Yeah, you sold out. Charisma Live was sold out
and made no money.
How is that possible?
Let me tell you, even I don't know. And we did all the numbers, the books, everything. It's just okay. But to be honest, I'm also very extra, so I put a lot of money into production. If I just wanted to do a basic show, none of the theatrics, the pyro, the smoke, ninge make dough. But man, like I always say, Charisma Live is my platform to show people what I'm about, so that when I'm being booked for gigs, they know this is his standard. Mi usema hawezi kuwa msee unakunywanga pombe ya 200 alafu unaenda mahali unasema nataka ya 500. Lazima uonyeshe hao watu wewe unakunywanga mzinga ya 500 ndo wakununu. Kama unakunywanga champagne wanaona yeye ujibai ya champagne. So we have to
you have to match that same energy.
But if I'm just drinking changa somewhere and then all of a sudden I come and say I want champagne,
it's not gonna work.
You know. So I like showcasing myself in the way that I want to be portrayed in other shows. So now people know who I am and the kind of standards I hold myself to and that I want.
And I think that's good, and it's the difference between a performing artist and a recording artist.
100%.
I don't think people realize that there's a huge difference.
Yeah. It's a big difference. And that's where the money is, to be fair. Performance is where the money is at. Because we don't do Drake streaming numbers. We don't do Beyonce streaming numbers. So you can imagine if you see those guys who do billions of streams, makes $10 million in revenue, just do it, divide by, go and look at my monthly listeners vis-a-vis Drake and tell me what you think I make from stream. So the shows are where it's at. The shows is where you make your money. So for me, Charisma Live is always like a platform to just show people what I'm about. And then I might not make the money I want to make from it, but it births so many more opportunities. Because when an event organizer sees Charisma sold out a location with close to 2,000 people, they're like, hey, return of interest is high. This guy pulls numbers.
True.
So we want him at our show. And ever since that show, people are calling every day. And we're just telling them, no. Red card, no. Or we're booked already for that date.
Wow.
Which is incredible.
That's a really nice feeling. I'm so happy
it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's
great.
Proper amazing.
I remember when I was going to buy the tickets, your early bird tickets were already sold out.
Yeah. 4 hours.
I was so shocked. I'm like, I've just arrived. I've just seen the poster, guys, and it was already sold out. So I said, when the advance comes like this,
immediately,
no chances were taken.
And imagine it's just grinding, because we never used to. The first Charisma Live did, was it 300 people? The second one did 700 or 800 thereabout. This one did 1,700. So it's just the consistency and putting out like a proper product, because people gravitate towards like I always say, the one thing about the audience can always tell when you're putting in work. When you treat them like crap, when they come for the event and you treat them like crap, they will not forget.
Yeah, that's
when
true.
You don't give them an experience, they won't forget. That's why you have a quality show, you have a quality setting, because and people love what you do because they see the effort you put into it, you know. And that's why it grows. But yeah.
But it was a great show, and I know that the grounds was still under construction. And you persevered through that. I know venues can be challenging, isn't it? Let's not speak about it.
I ain't gonna speak about it.
It turned out well. That's all that matters. Yeah. How did you know that this was the right time for you to release
an album?
Yeah.
So the thing about the album is, I want to be honest, like I don't know that people know that it's the right time. I just felt like it was my time. You know, I honestly, it was something divine. It sounds dumb, but it just felt like in my mind, like this was my time. So first of all, I was celebrating my 10-year anniversary in the industry. So it just felt like this is a landmark for me. I should mark it with like an album would be dope for this period. And this album was meant to come out in March.
Yes. And you kept pushing
Manze delays, juu ya pesas, juu atujamaliza tracks, like just a lot of delays, just behind the scenes issues. And it was frustrating, but I always say, Manze, God's timing.
True.
because that happened. And then the time, I remember we had booked now the album for July 19th. And then things for Maandamano started. And I was like, God, why do you hate me? Why is it when I'm about to do something? Because even when COVID happened, I put out an EP.
Yes.
And the next week, COVID happened.
Oh.
I asked God, Bona, when I'm about to do something, you always just bring these things that... And Maandamano, and Maandamano had already happened for 2 weeks. So I'm like, this shit is not even ending.
It's not ending soon.
So I don't even... And then, you can't be tone deaf. So even me, I'm deep in the mix for Maandamano.
Of course, yeah.
There's no way I can just start pushing music. And first of all, sina ngoma ya Maandamano. Yani, ngoma zangu ni za love ama mashida.
And this is not the time for that type of music.
Yeah, I was so frustrated. So I remember we postponed the date. I was just like, I told my team, let's be in solidarity with Kenyans. I know it sucks because I was also not doing shows because I was like, I'm not doing a show again until I have new music. I'm tired of performing the old songs. So I hadn't performed from like March. Alafu 2 dates zinaendelea. So each time savings zangu zinaisha. Nimekuwa nikipay for the album, I'm just going broke.
Yeah.
So Maandamano is happening and I'm just like, okay, now it seems we're going to have Maandamano until December.
Forever.
So now we have to set a date. When it's chill a bit, we'll just set a date and release this album. So we say, let's do 9th August. If it's settled, if it's not, we'll just keep pushing until it's the right time. Manze kama indo time. If God doesn't want us to put it out now, he doesn't. And that's okay. We'll accept this, the will of God, and move.
Keep it pushing, yeah.
So we decide on 9th. But like, the most amazing thing happens just because of like how I participate in the Maandamano. Also, a lot of people ride for me.
Yes, definitely.
With the album, So, and that's why I said God's timing, because there's a lot of goodwill I got from people. Just people who were like, Manze umseli simama na sisi. And they pushed the album. And even when I put out the poster for the concert, people really supported. So like, maybe if we do this album in March, it doesn't have the impact. It's hard. By being released after Maandamano with August 9th. So you see, so things just happen for a reason. And that's why I've gotten to a point in my career where I just believe in God's plan. That's like whatever God has in store for me, if it works out, well and good. We keep going. If it doesn't,
just keep it pushing.
Keep pushing. But but it was a really difficult time, But I mean, it is what it is, and it happened how it was meant to happen.
I mean, they say God gives the hardest battles to the strongest soldiers.
Yeah, like
clearly, you're strong.
Strong soldiers. God, I'm tired.
He wants to be a baby boy, man.
I want to be soft now. Tired, yeah.
Yeah, but I do think that your involvement in Maandamano really helped.
It really did.
You are really in there. You are one of the people at the forefront, always using your platform.
Yeah.
Was there something that really, apart from obviously the fact that, our country is messed up currently with the leadership, was there anything that really ignited that feeling of being an activist?
I'm a very... Yeah, I'm really just an activist because so even before, like when there was the GBV march, I was very vocal about that. I remember even before Maandamanos, like when I'd feel the government was shafting us, I always used to go to Maandamanos. Like I've really been about it, But this one, I think came at a time. So, and I guess for you too, like we're grown-ups now, we're no longer kids. So these things, absolutely, like they really, really affect us.
Yeah.
Anything they do right now does it. You know how when you were younger they do things and like
you don't even understand it.
Don't know what's happening. But like, these things really affect us, and sometimes, and I'm grateful for people for how people supported me after. But I always say we shouldn't also exalt creatives for pushing those kind of things, because we're not just doing it for ourselves and for our futures, for everybody, for our brothers, our sisters, our neighbors, our fellow Kenyans. I agree. I might have a platform that speaks to more people, perhaps, but your involvement is just as equal to mine. Like there's nothing I'm doing that's significantly more than yours.
Yes.
When I was on the streets, when they were tupang those water cannons that are blowing them around, and I was falling on the streets, I was there with a lot of other Kenyans who I don't know and who probably don't have as many followers that I do. And guys were being beaten. Tulichapwa na wase wengi pamoja who don't have a following. Tulikula tear gas na a lot of people who don't have a following were on the streets with all of us. My involvement is not any different than anyone's.
True.
yeah, so I've really had a difficult time with people saying, oh, najua yeye ni celeb alikuwa anatusaidia. I'm like, oh man, I don't feel like we should look like that.
Yeah,
because I'm literally just a Kenyan like you.
I do feel like there is I don't want to call it a burden, but there's like a sense of responsibility for people with larger platforms to do something or say something. But I do agree with you that at the end of the day, the reason you should also do it is because you care and not because
you're trying to show people.
I'm using my following for good, but it should be like, I want to do this and I care about this cause. So I do agree with you, but either way, at the end of the day, your contribution was important.
I mean, and
equal to everyone else.
100%.
Yeah.
And I guess for creatives, maybe the difficult thing is, and you would understand this more than most people, I think, watching, like, the difference, I think the only difference for me here is, for a creative, it can affect your bag.
Okay, yes.
That posting, there's a lot of corporates that will be like, I don't want to touch this guy.
One thing about me is I've been cancelled, and I'll tell you about it later.
Yeah, so, and I had a lot of those conversations. I'm not even going to mention names. I remember even when I was looking for sponsors for Charisma Live, there's people who are just like, you have to stop saying this thing you're saying online. And I said, oh, you know what? I don't need you.
Yeah.
And I've turned down brands that said to me, tried to police my post.
Speech,
okay, so we would like you on board, but you would have to tone. And I'm like, no.
Actually, it's fine.
But the bare fact that you guys are coming to me, you know what I'm about. So you take me as I am or not. You know, and I respect people's views. There's people who don't want to have me on board because of how I speak and the things I do. I respect it. I wouldn't go shade them and trash them. That's true. But I'll just stick by what I believe in. You know,
and that's also fair.
Yeah, and I've never suffered in my life. I didn't have corporate backing for the longest time. So yeah, chema cha jiuza. So yeah, but yeah, that was a very tiaga si funny. Kusema kweli sikuwa nadhani your stuff ni uchungu hivyo.
I also didn't expect it to be like that. You know, I was reading it's what is it, Kaya? Some pepper, like I was like, I ingest pepper research all the time. And immediately research, I was like, how bad is it really? Why are people putting toothpaste? It can't be that bad. Shock on my life.
Let me tell you, the first maandamano, I remember that Tuesday, we weren't a lot of people in town. But hiyo ratio ilikuwa kama 1-to-1. One policeman, one protester. Na waambia, unajua vile wanasemanga kwa news running battles. Niliziona hiyo day. Experience running battles. Tulikuwa tunaingia kwa hizo machuom za town. Tunaboxiwa gari inafunga hii side. Tear gas inarushwa kutoka huku na huku inaanguka hapo. Kuna time, I remember nilipigwa na tear gas. I even sat down on the floor with some dude. I was just coughing and nini makamasi natoka machozi. I said wakitaka kunichukua wanichukue.
Take me now. One, I'm done.
I'm not seeing a way of succeed. Like there's no way. I can't see. I can't breathe. I said wanichukue. So guys are shouting at me. Wanakuja naambia wacha wakuje. Wacha. Another time I'm with Kariwa who tumepigwa na tear gas hapo. Naitwa nini? Anniversary Towers. Who was like let them arrest me. Home. She sat down. She said, let them take me. And then I'm like, excuse me, I don't want to be taken. But I'm like, I can't leave her.
Yeah, true.
So I just sat down even me. I was like, okay, we're being taken. And I'm like, if they take us, the way they deal with you and me is not the same.
It's so different. That's true.
It's
over for you, by the way.
know, but yeah, like it was such a... this Ruto must go.
Ruto must go for jail.
It's such a terrible thing. Like our country is going through such terrible things. Even this Bruce thing that...
Yeah, Bruce,
Morara, like just so many crappy things happening. Mpaka nashindwa kwani tunapanishiwa.
I don't know what it is, what we did. Either that or someone sacrificed Kenya as a whole.
Or maybe God is pushing us to the brink so that we can actually get what we want. Maybe we need to be pushed to that point where now we ask these people off their seats.
For real, because
mi niko hapo. Mi nimekuwa, but then nikiambia dreams nimekuwa nazo, naweza fungwa. Like this government has made me hate people to an extent I never thought I would.
I feel the same. Like I feel like I've experienced true hatred for the first time in my life, and it's towards the government.
William.
Yeah. So I saw a tweet today that said that he slapped a William, until you read the right one.
Bruh. I'm so tired.
Sorry to all the Williams apart from that one.
Yeah, I'm so tired. Like anytime someone on my tweets was saying, it's got into the point that like when I'm walking in a supermarket and I see his photo, I just want to remove my shoe and hit it. You know, sidhani tumefika point kwa history ya Kenya where everyone is just so angry at the same time.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
Even my parents yesterday, my mom was like, it wasn't even this bad.
Honestly,
I said, damn,
yeah.
we are in hell.
Those guys had an economy at the very least.
Yeah. And she was like, at least if you pushed Moi too far, he would be like, alright guys, I get it.
Shida mtu wetu pia ni kichwa ngumu.
Yeah, facts. 100%.
Anyway, tudeal na yetu.
Anyway, back to music. What are your goals and aspirations in the future?
So I really want to be... so for me, it's just... One thing is exporting Kenyan music.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be part of that generation that takes Kenyan music international, and we take Kenya to platforms no one has ever thought about it, because no one has ever thought about it, because Nigeria was never where Nigeria is right now.
True.
In fact, Nigeria was behind the Kenyan music industry back in the 2000s. But people just worked hard and worked smart and realized music is a business, and they got it there and worked on their craft. And things like understanding music production and what the people want to hear, plus improving our performances. I tell guys that you cannot export yourself if you're a trash performer. You'll go perform at O2 and guys will be like, cancel that.
For real. Yeah,
you know,
100%.
how to be a proper performer. So just working on things like that. Also, I want to fill a stadium in Kenya. I want a Charisma Live to happen at Bukhungu Stadium in Kakamega.
Okay, that's very specific.
It's my hometown.
Okay, nice.
So, yeah. I want people to come from Nairobi, a whole 15,000 or is it 20,000 stadium, Seto Stadium, what were Jazzy. That would be a dream for me, because it wouldn't just benefit me. I'd like also the people from my hometown to benefit in terms of business, the B&Bs, the food, people to just sell the culture also. Like, I feel like that would be great for myself and for the people there to just give back. I mean, see, at the minimum, I grew up Kakamega, but me feel a sense of belonging to that area. Even when I walk there, I'm like, yeah, I'm home.
Yeah.
So I'd like to really do something for the people there, and just fill a lot more stadiums in this country. If Ruto ever finishes them. Yeah. Stadiums live anyway.
You had to hold yourself back there, I see. If you start, you won't stop. That'll be a whole other episode.
Anyway, yeah. So that, and then just uplifting other artists, especially that are coming up. Because one of the things I really felt coming up in the industry is I never had someone to guide me. You know, people to lead me and tell me this is the wrong move or the right move. Because with Leban, we made a lot of mistakes. Yeah. And I always tell guys, one thing I readily admit, success came to us when we weren't ready. Si ilikuja na sasa wasichana na walituona Nairobi. Na madunda manze tulitumia do yetu vibaya. And there's guidance that I feel like I can give to a young guy coming up in the industry, especially like invest in your craft. Yeah. Especially at that age, if you're for those who are able to, like you're living with your folks still and you're making money, you can imagine how much you can put into your craft at that time. I feel like if I did not maybe not even just investing in myself, maybe learn couple instruments, pay for those things, and maybe instead of using all my money on booze and girls, ningetumia kuji improve as a musician, I'd have been in a better position. And I was young then and I made my mistakes. And sometimes I hear people go into certain drugs and stuff, and I'm like, no, this thing is the thing that's gonna destroy you, you know, because I've seen it destroy people in this industry. So there's input that I have that I know I can impart on someone, and knowledge that I have about the industry that I use on younger people, because I believe that guidance and is what will help with this industry growing, and because we need the continuity. I find pia after Charisma, after yo kina Suda, kina Wasabanton, tena tumerudi zero. No, the industry has to keep going. True. So we have to hold people's hands and realize these guys. You see how Kinan Olamide signed Fireboy, and Olamide was crazy massive for a while. Now Fireboy is the big artist, and you see Olamide is still making millions from him. So everyone has benefited. So that's for me one of the things I really want to do, like just really help people out in this industry and grow this industry and work together. Kama staki manze kitu ya content creators na musicians kupeleka na court, hizo stuff sizi like.
It's tough.
Sizi like manze. Nataka tu work pamoja, because And listen, I respect everyone and everyone's views. There's a way, every artist is different in how they share their music and they want their music to be used. But I've always advocated for those industries to come together because it helps Kenyan music.
It does.
When content creators are using our music on their videos and whatever, it really does help because people see it. I remember back in the day, I used to hate when I'd see a content creator post Nigerian music because I'm like, I'm talking to Saidia or Kenya, because what you're doing is pushing that Nigerian music to that audience, you know. But I'd like to hear my songs on those videos. I mean, when it now gets and there's a line, I guess.
There is a line.
So there is a line, for example, when a corporate now decides to come on board and sponsor them. I mean, I know those could be issues. Or when it's a corporate, it's different because they're making money from it. But I'd like me personally, I was telling guys, I respect both. No, unfortunately, I'm on both sides. So I create content, I work with brands, and I'm also a musician. So I understand everyone. Yeah. But I was saying, like, we need to sit down and have the conversation because it's beneficial. If content creators blacklist Kenyan music, the people who are suffering
are the musicians.
Are Kenyan musicians.
That's true. I think the line just comes when it's commercialized.
Exactly.
Because I wouldn't see a problem of if I'm posting just, maybe like a fashion video that's not sponsored in any way and I'm using a Kenyan song. Yeah. I think that's fine.
To be honest, even if it's an ad, even if you're doing an ad with the food, and this is just me, I'm not speaking for other musicians. If you're doing, say you're working with a brand and you want to use my music and you tell me, or rather you use my music, I don't have a problem, personally as Charisma, I don't have a problem with it because that's you. Okay. But my problem would probably be if
the brand itself.
Let's say the company is called Cast.
Yeah.
You do an ad for them. Yeah. You put me, I don't have a problem. I'm happy. Thank you so much for using my song. I love it. Appreciate it. It's gone to a different audience. Maybe someone has never heard my song. But now if Cast, the company, takes the video and sponsors it and puts it on TV, that for me is a problem. But if it's just the creator, or now the company starts doing sponsored ads everywhere, that is a problem. But if you as a creator are the only one using it, even if it's for gain, I don't think it should be an issue. That's just me.
I see that. I think maybe it just depends on the musician as well.
And that's why I believe we need to have the conversation.
I think just maybe that's something that can happen. You just say, by the way, can I use your song for this video?
And and even I feel like on a large scale basis, and maybe the artists who are okay with people doing that, Monacoadin a list it's a pool. Yes. These guys have agreed and they've signed something and it's there for everyone to see. Because it's a bad position. I don't like it because I've seen a bunch of cases and I'm just like,
same.
I've worked so hard in my own way to foster a relationship with creatives and also to loop my boys who are not close to creative, because I'm very close to a lot of content creators. So I've worked hard to create those bonds so that people are comfortable with you, and it's really worked for Kenyan music. Yeah. In fact, the biggest boosters of Kenyan music have been content creators. Look at the TikToks. I was going to say
the challenges.
The challenges, all those things. And then now we alienate ourselves from them.
Yeah.
What happens? They start doing challenges for
the Nigerian music.
Ashake. The Gidia Goma.
I'm dead, not the Kikuyu.
Please, no.
But I do agree. I think it's just a conversation that needs to be had.
So the collabs, I think I'd really love for our industry to have the symbiosis. Like everyone just have a sense of
this is
ownership. This is ours. Exactly. We don't need to fight for certain things. And I'm sure there's a line. I'm sure all of us have the common sense to understand where not to cross the line. And we can even, during the conversations, we can define those things, because it's also a new thing. So even legally, the interpretation is, the precedence is being set as we move. So nobody really knows what it is. But just, we need to look at the benefits and everything, because that's how we'll grow as an industry.
Yeah, I think it's you're right. Everything we can all work together and have a common goal. And
akina wasanii msifeel ni kama nimewataka kama na throw into the water. I've said this here because I feel like it's something that needs to be talked about, because otherwise we're just going to have a lot of issues and fights.
Yeah. And it's been something that's been occurring a lot, and that one initial case has set a precedent for others to now open the door. So I get it. I get it. Now you've talked about, we're about to wrap up. You've talked about working with creatives, content creators, musicians, fostering relationships. Can you share your most exciting partnership or collaboration that you've done? Can be with any type of creative that you...
I think okay, sasa wengine watasema kama siku enjoy zao. I won't talk about the songs. I think the songs is for people to decide what they like. But so some of the content I really liked doing, I was doing a campaign with Fresh, and I think my favorite, both my the two favorite videos or pieces of content that I've done have been from that campaign. One I did with Samantha Nyakoe.
Super talented babe.
Brilliant.
Yes.
And she's so meticulous and
100%.
Kushoot na Samantha ni job.
Girl, I know. Sorry. Girl is gender neutral.
Nimeshazoea. Sika vile mimi sema tu bro.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Kuna vitu mingi za kutusumbua kwa hii life kama Ruto. Sasa nisumbuke na girl. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Samantha is bro. She is very detailed to the like kila kitu.
But rightfully so.
Yeah, and her content like so after working with her, I was just like, yeah, bro. Yeah, the video is proper. And also I did something for Fresh with Kimanzi, another guy who's just...
Also good at
Kimanzi content. Goes above and beyond. I remember when we were doing the content, and I even went on a trip with him to Malaysia. Let me tell you one thing with Kimanzi. Kimanzi ni... Hata mko karibu kumaliza alafu aone kitu atake tu kuidu. Hachokangi, anani bo.
He's a creative.
Kimanzi uni bo. But kaka kuna mse uni bo ni Kimanzi. Na sim like, hebu mwambieni sim like.
Sorry Kimanzi.
Anyway, yeah, he's so brilliant. Like, his head just does a lot. He was... And I've never even shouted him out for this, but Kimanzi was the creative director for my concert. So a lot of the things we did, stage theatrics, were his ideas. Like, he's just a brilliant mind. Mi na shoot kwa Malaysia tulikuwa tuna shoot content. Mi na Mutinda tumechoka. Kimanzi anataka tu kuendelea. Namuuliza, we kwani we shida yako nini? Ama ulipwa nini nyesi atulipu? You know? So he's just, he goes above and beyond with everything. Even simple things, he doesn't want them to be simple. He thinks about, how can I make this simple thing look like the baddest thing that's ever been done? And I really respect how he approaches his art, because I think that's how I approach my music. I think content creation is something that I'm also, by the day, just learning and growing into, because I enjoy doing music more than anything. So this is something that became that came after as a result of the music I do. So yeah, those people, I think even more than just the content, just seeing how they work was really interesting for me, and how much they think about their content. Yeah,
I love that, and I love that it was actually a different type of creative work. It opened your eyes to something different, isn't it?
Mad people.
Yeah.
Samantha.
Shout out to you, Samantha and Kimanzi.
Yeah,
you all are doing an amazing job.
Yeah, 100.
Now, please tell our audience, I know you've given a lot of advice already, but is there anything you'd like to tell up-and-coming creatives, musicians?
Yeah, if you love something, just do it. I would say, like, Nike has the slogan is so simple, but there's no slogan that makes sense like that one. Just do it. That's the most difficult thing to do. The beginning, just deciding this is what I'm doing and doing it to, like, okay, setting a date and being like, kesho tunaanza.
Yeah.
Inakuanga the most difficult thing for a lot of people. So just start doing your thing, and if you love what you're doing or what you're about to start, and if you put time, it'll grow and grow. And sometimes it'll grow to a point where it doesn't even make sense. You're like, I never thought this thing would get here. I believe even for you, like, you just started whatever you were doing, and here you are.
Took some time, but I got there. But I knew it was what I wanted to do.
And you just started it. Imagine if you were like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, so just start on your path, and everything else falls into place eventually. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's been a lovely conversation.
Asante, girl.
That was Charisma, exclusively here on the Cre8 Podcast. You'll see where you can find him, stream his music, find him on socials. Yeah, I can't wait to see you on Blankets. I know by the time this is up.
Usijali watu wako wanasema vile nilibamba.
Yeah, period. Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Cre8 Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an update. Like, share, and comment whose story you'd like to hear next. And in the meantime, you can vibe with us on all our social media platforms at the Cre8 Pod. Remember to stay creative, and I'll catch you in the next one.